Welcome back to Dash for Adventure. We're going on a ride we've never been on before, but first we've got to drive through Gatlinburg, Tennessee to get there. Stick with us and find out where we're going. So here's Gatlinburg. We're only here for a moment though. We'll take a right and then we're going to head back out into the woods. So we're going to turn right on Airport Road. Which is right beside the Space Needle right here in downtown Gatlinburg. Then we head out here for a few miles until we find the road we're looking for. And it's gonna take us on a beautiful, beautiful ride. Okay, so when you head up Airport Road, you go straight onto Cherokee Orchard Road and you drive right beside this creek.
That's the Ogle place. I wonder if Shrek's there.
Oh no, there's his barn.
There's Donkey's barn.
So right here, Cherokee Orchard Road splits. Right lane traffic continues this way and it becomes a big loop. And off of this loop is where we'll find Roaring Fork Motor Trail. Look at that, it's gorgeous. It's early spring and all the foliage is starting to pop. Man, that's beautiful. Check it out. There's another four-door cactus gray Bronco right behind us. And here's the Rainbow Falls and Bullhead Trailhead parking. There's always a lot of people up here, a lot of traffic in this area. But that's not where we're going today. It's still a little further. All right, here we are. The Roaring Fork Motor Nature Trail. I'm gonna take a right and go right up into this. This is gonna be beautiful. The speed limit's 10 miles an hour. It's a single lane, one way, nature ride. Look how beautiful that is. And when you're driving down the Roaring Fork Nature Trail, there are plenty of places to pull over for trailheads. And there's these different short trails going off in each direction. And they have like 2 or 3 parking spaces at the trailhead that you can walk out and enjoy nature. We've been climbing for a while and now we're going to go down a little bit, but look how beautiful this is way up here in the mountains. And then look at this, you can look way down there in the valley.
There's some trees.
And there's some more of those magnolia trees. It is absolutely gorgeous out here. This reminds me of the Rich Mountain Trail, but this one's paved. Rich Mountain is gravel. One thing you definitely need to understand is that most of the trails and roads in the Great Smoky Mountains, they are not full of obstacles. They're either gravel, asphalt, or easy rides. So if you're looking to take your Jeep or Bronco off-road, hit some shelves and some cool obstacles and do a little boulders and rock climbing, you're not going to find it in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. At least not legally, because all of the paths and roads here are just simple, nice, smooth, easy, beautiful drives. But if you want to go for something wild, you can go not too far from here to Windrock Park. And we're going back uphill again. We just passed another trailhead parking area. People packing out. Roaring Fork Motor Nature Trail is absolutely gorgeous. Keep in mind it's only 5.5 miles and it drops you back off right downtown Gatlinburg. Man, coming around this curve, you See the mountains off in the distance through the trees. It's definitely only wide enough for one vehicle, so if anybody's caught going the wrong direction, it's going to create a traffic jam. I'm sure that doesn't happen that often, though. Look at that view. And this is one of the trailheads. One of the trails goes to the top of the hill right there. And then there's this trail. It's really, I think this is just a bump out where people come and take photos of the mountains. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. And we only live about an hour and a half away from this. I admit, we are absolutely taking this for granted. Putting it on YouTube is causing me to take another look at it. And I appreciate that. Let's get down the road and see what else we can find.
Look at all those ferns. The little purple flowers.
There's a whole bank of ferns.
Wait a minute. Isn't that Fern Bank Science Center? Oh, that's in Atlanta, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. Maybe that's how they got their name. Ferns on a bank. Fern Bank. If that's how you pronounce it.
You know, you'd think we'd be really good at Parcheesi. I don't think we've ever played it.
I don't think we've played either.
We might be cheesy enough.
Maybe. Is that the road up there? Or is that the old road? If you know, you know.
It might be in a realignment up there.
Oh man, that looks like a horse trail.
It does, doesn't it?
Wow.
Little squiggly vines out there. I don't see Tarzan anywhere, though. Roaring Fork is actually considered an old growth jungle. It's one of the oldest growth areas of the Smoky Mountains. Now we're headed downhill. There are communities that are hidden out in the woods here with working log flumes and water chutes, all part of how they lived back in the day. True log cabin communities. Anytime you come out to Roaring Fork, make sure you find a good parking space because the road is skinny and it is a big traffic zone. Wow, look at that. And look at these wooden bridges.
Wow.
Winding around in our Bronco Mobile. I'm going to completely rewrite that song before this trip's over.
Look at the creek. It is so majestic. Look at the moss on the trees and the rocks.
Is that mountain laurel?
Mountain laurel everywhere. Wow. That is gorgeous. Reminds me of the waterfall I drove down in my Bronco off-rodeo training.
Don't be too wide. You might hit a tree. That is so cool how these trees are like growing towards the road.
I know.
You see the trees that have fallen in the creek and the ferns and the undergrowth. No wonder they call it an old growth jungle. Look at that. And off to the left up here is another cabin. And you can hike out to these cabins and learn all about them. Let's go check out this cabin community here. This is Ephraim Bell's place. It'd be difficult to find a better place to imagine mountain life than this. Picture yourself growing up here as one of Ephraim and Minerva Bell's 9 children. Look around. This was your world. Imagine yourself and 10 others living in this small cabin. Ephraim Bell's owned 72 acres here, and he farmed 30. The rest remained wooded, and this was like many farms along the Roaring Fork, where families scratched a hard living from a very rocky land.
That's the corn crib. That's the barn, and then the hog pen.
So that's the
corn crib, and then the barn is back there, and there's a hog pen on the other side of the house. Could you imagine raising 9 kids in this house?
Wow. I wonder where they charge their iPads.
Look at the graffiti that they tell you not to do.
I had to tip my head down.
I think they were short back then. There's a fireplace in there.
Can't really see it well. Wow, so this would have been the backyard right here.
Where were the hog pens?
Well, there's the barn back there, and the hog pen would have been back here somewhere.
Maybe right here?
That's the creek. So there's the barn back there. Look at this rock wall they built. Could you imagine living like this? From a romanticized standpoint, it would have been absolutely fantastical. But from the reality of it, I don't know that I'd want to work a hog pen like that with all these rocks. I mean, you'd almost get used to jumping from rock to rock and not even walking on dirt. It would have been a hard life, but it would have been amazing. Imagine the character it would have built in you. I mean, right now, I'm jumping from rock to rock just to make it over here to the creek. Oh, look at that. Wow. Oh, the mountain laurel everywhere. Right here in our face. Paula's favorite. One of her favorites. And this is said to be some of the coldest waters in the world. Let's see what else we can find in the Roaring Fork. It is hard to imagine that these communities existed and they were still thriving. When they decided to build the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, used eminent domain and negotiations to acquire these lands. So up until then, these places were thriving communities. Let's see what else we can find.
Look at that creek. That is so peaceful looking. This actually looks like some kind of working mill. It was a grist mill, a small one for a small community.
And then a cabin back there that people lived in. imagine doing a horse and buggy on dirt and mud through here. Wow.
I think I would have just rode a horse with saddlebags.
Maybe they did.
Maybe they did. When they'd go into town to get their stuff.
Well, I mean, oh, there it is. The place of 1,000 drips. Thank you guys for joining us on our little trip to Roaring Fork. We appreciate every one of you guys watching our videos and checking out our quirky little stops and trails. We'll see you guys in the comments.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. See you next time.